Alexander bringing another MQ mini clinic. Today we're going to talk about belly keying and how you can, even in a single gap defense, still get kind of a dual gap fit, which really helps against teams that are heavy zone. So first, let's talk about what is an actual belly key. So for instance, here's a typical 3-4. That's what we're going to look at. We're going to see two clips today, one from a wide angle, one from an end zone angle, so we can really get a look at it. But here's a typical 2x2 formation. You're going to have a single gap, what I call an okie front, so a 5, a shade, and a 4 or a 3 depending on how you're going to play it. The jack isn't attached because we're in a 2x2. It's a spread set, so we're going to go ahead and back him up. So in a typical single gap defense, everybody is going to have a gap. Okay, nose is going to fit front side. He's going to fit right here. This puts the mic here. Will fold in, and then your jack is the force player on the edge. Now, what can happen in some of these instances is, for instance, he's now a conflict player, even though he is a force player. And it doesn't necessarily make it difficult in a 2x2. Everybody kind of fits. But what it can help you is, for instance, in a gap exchanges, is that if we get a typical zone read, what you're going to see is zone away, right? Everybody's going to zone away, and they're going to read the D end. Well, if that D end holds his gap, and that mic fits right here, sometimes you can have it where a more athletic quarterback can actually bounce it, especially when you're surf techniquing with this guy. You're putting a defensive end, a typical 5 technique up against a speedier quarterback. So an easy way to fix this is to use what I call gap exchanges. So you get the same kind of zone action. Tackle's going to fit there. You get the same kind of zone action. Nose is going to cross. Same kind of zone action, right? And this guy's going to work up. Well, now what you can do is make this D end the dive player, and he's going to crash down the line, and he's going to force that quarterback to take it. Well, because we're using a belly key, that mic will work to his gap, see that, and snap around. So now you have a better athlete on a back. What can be even better, and what people don't realize, is even as the nose crosses into the opposite A, this guy can rock back as well. So you can have an outside shoulder and an inside shoulder of the quarterback, or this tackle can just see the wheel flash in front of him and climb to him. So this allows the interior guys to really kind of be double gap. So what you do here is have a 5 technique. Anytime that they have a shade or a G or a 2-eye, you can play heavy. So all heavy means is if I get an out block, this D end is going to snap into the B gap or rub into the B gap. If he gets a down block, he's going to crash down the line for a dive. Now, one question I always get is, what if, coach, they run a zone lock scheme? So a zone lock scheme would be kind of like an influence pass set, and that's something that you're going to get when you have a heavy 5. This is another example of kind of offenses working to the next level. So you get a pass set, which is, if you're playing a heavy 5, he's going to attack, he's going to see the pass set, and he's going to climb. So how do I get that out of, or how do I react to that? Well, here's what I like about a 3-4 is, even if I get zone lock, and this guy is an influence pass set, what I can do is really, he can give me an up and under. So even though he's fitting that gap, if he sees that guy flash, he can go out. Because we showed that natural belly key, you've got the wheel rocking back, and your jack backer 2 on run can also rock back into it, because this guy's he's blocking to nobody. Your D tackle and your nose are going to build walls. That's essentially what you want. You want to have them build walls, and really, if he gets the ball, it's got to cut back to the wheel, to the mic, or to the D end playing an up and under. So he can kind of have a two-way go if he gets a pass set. It's kind of called what we call a cover me. So if the running back blocks, you could even green dog this guy in order to contain a pass. So how does that? So if they're going to zone lock, that's the other thing is that the quarterback's not going to run the ball. So if that's the case, and I know that I'm playing a team that likes to kind of lock that guy on there, then I know that then I don't have to worry about the quarterback, and this guy I can kind of add him in where he sees fit and play what I call that cover me concept, because we still have our 3-over-4, and the jack, you can play games with him as long as he holds the seam. He's working back in slow, looking for anything cutback, or if it bounces, he's still got pursuit angle. So that's a question that I get often about this belly key and how you defend it with a heavy technique, especially when you get a 3-by-1 and your mic is removed. You can still play games with it. Zone lock is not something that I'm real worried about, because it eliminates the quarterback from the run game. And anyway, and that's one less thing that we got to worry about. All right, let's watch a little bit of film. Here's a great example, a wide copy of what I call a belly key. Now, if you notice, both inside backers right here, they are going to work to their gap. When they get their anchor point crosses their face, they will work back. So let's take a look through that. You see them working, and I always tell my inside linebackers, you've got to live in your 6-inch steps. Now, I don't like necessarily the mic is hopping around. I do really like what the Will is doing down here on the bottom. That's really good footwork. He's chop, 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 chop. He sees that cutback. Now, where this looks really good is they're full zoning this. So when the running back gets it, he sees all this daylight over here, and he sees all these anchor points. You've got a 5 technique who's setting the edge right here. You've got him pushing in right here, and you've got him pushing in right here. And really that 5 technique is holding it right here. What I also like too is the quarterback, this is the read side. The quarterback's over here. So this Sam's actually making this D end right. Now this obviously this D end's not playing a heavy technique, otherwise he would have rubbed inside. But he's holding the edge, holding the edge, holding the edge. You've got Mike working down, you've got the Will working down. And once that running back comes out, now you've got 2 guys on one side. Let's take a look at the end zone copy of this. And this is a different play, but it gives you a really good look at it. Now, here is the Okie front. They're playing a little bit of a G technique. You got a 5 technique. Okay, this DN's gonna hold his gap, and he's gonna press down. He's gonna work into this gap. He's working into this gap, and you have your jack backer. Okay, this is what I like about it, because as he sees the tackle go away, this DN is going to come and he's building a wall. You can also see with the nose right here, with the G, as the center goes away, he matches it and he's closing down that gap. So what you get is a stack backer and a stack backer. That's why you hear guys that say, stack and then backtrack. So this is what they're talking about, and my term for it is just a belly key. I give it a term for it. So you can see number 2 work into the gap. He gets stacked by his anchor point, and now he's going to rock back. Because if I'm the running back, I'm looking over here. I've got a wall here. This looks like a hole, but it's occupied by a nose guard, and the mic can easily flash in right here. So 2 ducks up, and now you've got a vice tackle. Okay, the other way that this can be played is with this. This is an out block. This guy can now come in here. And so as he's stacking, if this guy were to then bounce it back out, you've got a guy here and a guy who's backtrack in here. So there's 2 different ways to play this. With the heavy 5, or locking it and having your Mike backer. In this sense, he's able to stack and then fall back or insert, depending on what happens with the DN. So let's run through that one more time. And a great vice tackle. And what I like about a 2-high scheme, you've got a capper on the fit right there in case anything squirts out. So that's the MQ Mini Clinic on the belly key. Hopefully you can take something away with this. It's something really easy to work with. Again, remember, those linebackers take a 6-inch step to their gap. If they get stacked or crossed by their D lineman, they're just going to rock back with eyes on the running back. It's really good against zone read, and it's really good against zone teams, because especially in the spread where those zone teams trying to get to, they're trying to get to that cutback. That's what the zone is there for. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of ammo going into the offseason.